What's up, guys? Lightning here, UFC 286 in London. Leon Edwards against Kamaru Usman for the UFC welterweight belt. We're gonna make a quick prediction for the fights and let's have a good event. So the first fight on the card, Veronica Hardy against Juliana Miller. I got Juliana Miller by second round submission because I believe she's more motivated, more hungry, and Veronica Hardy was also 3 years out of the competition, and also her last fight was terrible. Yeah, she got an armor win against Poliana. That's it, man. So we're not gonna trust her. We're gonna go by Juliana Miller, second round submission. Next fight on the card, Herbert against Ludovit Klein. I believe Ludovit Klein is the better fighter, but Herbert not gonna lose again in London, man. He's gonna TKO him in the second round. He will definitely have to fire, and also he trained with Leon Edwards, very hard rounds, so we're gonna trust in him. Next fight, Joanne Wood against Luana Carolina. I trust in Luana Carolina by decision. She's younger, she's from Brazil, so in a women's fight, that's what matters. It's like in a men's competition, Dagestani guys, so we go by Luana Carolina. Decision. Also, Joanne Wood is not in her best age, and also her last fights lost 3 out of 5, or maybe even 4 out of 5. We go by Luana Carolina decision. Next fight on the card, Jake Hadley against Malcolm Gordon. We got Jake Hadley by first round submission. I believe he's definitely the better fighter. Malcolm is tough, man. Malcolm is tough, but he can get clipped, he can get submitted. We cannot trust in that. We go Jake Hadley by first round submission, rear naked choke. Next fight, Christian Leroy Duncan against Dusko Todorovic. That's a tough one. That's really a tough one because both guys can get finished in the first round. That's for sure. So definitely the first round. We go by Todorovic because he's 6 fights in the UFC. He won 3 of them. I believe everyone was a finish. So we can see him get Duncan finished, man. First round TKO in the late round, good exchanges, also takedown attempts by Dusko Todorovic, and even if he doesn't get the knockout, he will try to take him down and hold him maybe down for 3 rounds because he's definitely the better grappler. Next fight on the card, Gabriel Santos against Lerone Murphy. We got Lerone Murphy by decision. His first fight in Abu Dhabi against Zubair Tukhugov was very impressive. Yes, he got rocked and it was a draw, but I trust in him. He won every of his fights. He's 9-0. He has like 1 draw against a good fighter. Gabriel Santos is new to this game, new in the UFC, not in this game, but his first fight against an experienced fighter. A lot of the times it goes by decision, so a good experience for Gabriel, but a win for Lerone Murphy decision. Mokaev against Jafel Filho. Of course, we're gonna say Mokaev, easy decision. Somebody needs to lose his O. Maybe it's that time we're gonna trust in a big underdog by Jafel Filho. Third round TKO. I can see Mokaev win every exchange, especially the takedowns. He will have definitely some good takedowns, the grappling, but he cannot finish fights, man. He cannot finish fights. What we saw, maybe in this time, I'm not gonna trust that. We go by third round TKO for Jafel Filho. Also, with his last fight in the Dana Contender series, Jafel showed he can knock you out in the third round, man. He has some power, that's for sure. So we're gonna trust third round TKO by Jafel Filho. We're not gonna trust him on the betting line, but why not pick a big underdog against Mokaev, a young fighter. The next fight, Sam Patterson against Yanal Ashmoz. This is also 50-50. In my eyes, a 50-50, but for the bookmakers, it's Sam Patterson as the favorite. Sam Patterson, excuse me. So because maybe he can finish fights. It's in London, his home crowd gonna be there. He can win a fight, he loses every of his rounds, but he can win eventually by submission or something. But I believe Yanal Ashmoz, sorry about his name, he can win by decision because he will try to survive every round, man. He's a hard fighter. I saw his fights. He's incredible, he can He can do everything overall, and he also can take a punch. He can try to come out of a submission. He like fights to the end. So I see him as a bigger dog, and a big underdog you can bet on. He's an Israeli guy by Circassian heritage, so he has a lot of things on his shoulder, man. A lot of people trust in him, and it's big for his heritage, for his country to take a win. Next fight, Chris Duncan against Omar Morales. We got Chris Duncan by brutal knockout in the first round. I believe he will destroy Omar Morales, but not skill-wise. I believe skill-wise Omar Morales is definitely the better fighter. But man, that's not always how things go. We saw it from Francis Ngannou. Of course, we're not gonna compare him to Chris Duncan, but the power of Chris Duncan is crazy, man. He can really knock you out. He can get rocked, but he can also find the finish. So first round knockout by Chris Duncan. Jack Shaw against Makwan Amirkhani. We got Jack Shaw by third round TKO. I hope he learned from his last fight against Ricky Simon. Look, man, Ricky Simon is a great fighter. He showed, man, this guy's explosive and crazy. But Jack Shaw is a talented guy, man. He has a lot of experience and he can find the submission in every case. Against Makwan Amirkhani, it's really tough because he also can find a submission. So maybe this will be a stand-up fight, and that's where Jack Shaw is a better fighter. So third round TKO for Jack Shaw. Now the main event, Marvin Vettori against Roman Dolidze. This can be a sleeper, not from Roman's side because he can find a submission. But also in the TKO, we saw in his last fight. But Marvin Vettori should have him on the cage, 3 rounds, go by decision, classical Marvin Vettori fight. So we're gonna trust in him. 29-28, maybe even 30-27 for Marvin Vettori. Next fight, Jennifer Maia against Casey O'Neill. Second round submission by Casey O'Neill. Home crowd, man. Also, she need to have this win on her record because she's on a good streak. She's also undefeated. We're gonna trust in her by second round submission. Jennifer Maia is good. Don't get me wrong, she's very good, but she will not be that hungry and motivated like Casey O'Neill. The fire is on O'Neill's side. Next fight, Gunnar Nelson against Bryan Barbarena. If Bryan didn't fought RDA, I would say Bryan. But after his last performance, man, if you fight your next fight against Gunnar Nelson with the home crowd, like yes, Gunnar is a Swedish guy, but he will have the home crowd by him in London. So we have here a third round submission. We're gonna trust in that. I believe the first 2 rounds were like really, let's say, boring for some fans. Because it will be a lot of takedown attempts from Gunnar Nelson, and Bryan tried to survive that, be on the cage, similar to the RDA fight, and eventually in the third round, Gunnar Nelson will find the finish, submission third round. I see a rear naked choke because, man, Bryan Barbarena on the ground is really terrible. Stand up, he can knock you out, but of course Gunnar Nelson will not try to exchange with him. So third round submission by Gunnar Nelson. Co-main event, Justin Gaethje against Rafael Fiziev. Man, that's a hard one because a lot of people picking Rafael Fiziev, and his skill is very good, man. He's a very good fighter, especially stand-up, man. This guy's terrible for every fighter, man. If you fight him, you will have a tough night. Both guys after their nose surgery. I also will have a nose surgery this year, so I know it's not easy. But they both seem that the nose healed up. So for the cardio, it's great, man. So maybe we can see a 3-round hard fight. Not in this case, I believe first round knockout, because the fans will be hyped up for the main event. They will be crazy, especially the London crowd. They are crazy, man. They cheer, they chant. So they want to see a finish, man. They want to see a finish, especially if the last fight is Gunnar Nelson against Bryan Barbarena. 2-3 rounds only holding, and that the fans will boo. So they want to see a finish. Gaethje and Fiziev will go hard, especially at the end of the first round. They will go hard, try to knock each other out, and I believe in Gaethje. He has more power, I believe. He finds the finish. He's Mr. Highlight, so I believe 50k for him and a knockout. Maybe even a brutal knockout. He will get pieced up, by Fiziev, but he will find the finish. Brutal knockout by Justin Gaethje. Last fight, Leon Edwards against Kamaru Usman. So we can expect a 5-round clinch by Kamaru Usman. But what we're gonna see is, I believe, Usman will try to knock him out, man. I believe really Usman will try to knock him out to prove who he is, because we all know, he can hold it for the to the cage 5 rounds. Last time it was crazy, man. 1 minute, 1 minute at the end of the 5th round, and he get knocked out, man. This is horrible for a fighter. So to go in there with the mindset like that, you was a great champion, now you lost, you got knocked out. The fire is definitely on Leon Edwards. He will be more motivated. He will have this clear mindset. I'm the champion. I'm the better one. Especially after that knockout, he will have more confidence, especially in the stand-up, and he definitely not gonna try to exchange too much with Usman, especially with the grappling, because he knows 5 rounds. He can lose 3 of them, and that's it. He lost his belt. I believe he will try to knock him out in the 1st round, try to make it quick, maybe even head kick, same place, same area. So 1st round knockout by Leon Edwards, and I hope we're gonna see a great fight. I hope we're gonna see a big event in UFC London, man. It's always great there. A lot of fans, definitely, and a big crowd. I'm pumped up. I hope you too, man.